Hello and welcome. I'm Dan Gillison, the CEO of the National Alliance on Mental Illness, or NAMI. Welcome to NAMICon 2021. Welcome to all our NAMI community members, friends, family, visitors, and everyone interested in the future of mental health at a time when the future is absolutely now. If you are new to NAMI, you're in for something special, and we are all in for something special too, getting to know you, even if it is virtually. If you're already part of the NAMI family, you already know NAMICon will be a highlight of the year, a giant step towards fulfilling your desire to improve prospects and outcomes for everyone who connects personally to the daily challenge that is mental illness. From, let's say, a situational depression and anxiety arising from the pandemic to the often longer-term realm of SMIs or serious mental illness, such as schizophrenia, which catalyzed the birth of NAMI over 4 decades ago. What started as a small group of families gathered around a kitchen table in 1979 has blossomed into the nation's leading voice on mental health. NAMI is the nation's largest grassroots mental health organization dedicated to building better lives for the millions of Americans affected by mental illness. Today, we are a mighty alliance of more than 600 local affiliates, 48 state organizations, and a national office who work in communities across the United States to raise awareness and provide support and education that was not previously available to those in need. NAMI advocates for all who are affected by mental illness, both the individuals and the people in their lives. In particular, we do not rest until we remedy injustices and intervene early to support the mental well-being across the spectrum of need, starting at the earliest age. In addition to being advocates, we educate, we listen, and we lead. We fund and inform research. We provide and support a range of numerous programs. We have our strong public policy at every level of the Alliance and convene many powerful communities. Our public service campaigns and social media have been widely embraced and have reached millions. The NAMI faithful already know this, but when I think of the depth and breadth of our work here, I get re-inspired every day, convinced anew that there is no limit to the positive impact we can have. So all of you, welcome to the future of mental health, which begins this very morning with a special focus on youth and young adults, many of whom are just coming into the debilitating effects of mental illness. It's the kind of attitude we have here, where the time is now, as it is always. Maybe that's why this year's NAMICon theme, bringing people together for mental health, the time is now, speaks to the essence of NAMI. Our work is always urgent. Our orientation is always unity. It's the opposite of the ripple effect. Instead of expanding outward in thousands of ripples, we are thousands who come together to form one community. We cannot begin this year's work too soon. With every day, there's a new danger. There are new people in peril for their mental health. The mental health effects of the pandemic continue to rage. Our newest young adults and our kids are especially vulnerable. Though the effects on our physical health are being largely mitigated, what is the vaccine for depression, anxiety, and serious mental illness? It's our solidarity as committed mental health care individuals, families, loved ones, and professionals, learning from each other, leaning on each other. Together we can, will, and must make inroads and breakthroughs, modest, massive, and meaningful. If we are to be stakeholders in the better, healthier future upon which we have set our sights, we have to understand what is at stake in the immediate present. In homes and on streets, in crisis and unrest, in every age group and across all communities. The saying is mental health does not wait for the weekend. The imperative to act is the price of admission at NAMICon. We also take it home, a deeper knowledge of the mental health and social justice crisis that we are in, new networking opportunities, a toolbox of strategies and insights, and a community to take action. We are ready to deploy our values of inclusion, empowerment, compassion, fairness, and most powerfully, hope. New Hampshire's 10-year-old kid governor, Charlie Olsen, one of our ambassadors of ambition, whom you will hear from shortly, speaks to us directly as someone who has experienced firsthand the impact of the pandemic on youth. He will be making a great point about the immediacy of mental health and of having a community to achieve it. I'm excited about seeing some of our youth ambassadors as well. The atmosphere at NAMICon, even when we're virtual, is that our very presence creates a gravity. It brings people together. You've heard how one good thing leads to another? Well, at NAMICon, it's one good meeting leads to another. One handshake, virtual otherwise. One fist bump on your digital screen. One smile. One part of a larger problem that can be a missing piece of a puzzle as we work to solve the growing problems of mental health in our community. Please take advantage of our networking opportunities. Bringing people together for mental health is one of the powers of NAMI. I am certain you will be enriched and enlightened by the 5 tracks of topics, over 60 workshops, express talks, and flash sessions. It is all designed to add to the way you think about the cause that we are all so passionate about. I'm going to tell you about the tracks here, and you can also read about them in your digital program. They are Track 1, Amplifying Youth and Young Adult Voices. Spreading awareness, providing education, and promoting empowerment are critical to encourage young people to prioritize mental health early in life. Track 2, Advancing the Promise of Research. Through continued dedication to research and scientific advancement, we deepen our understanding of mental health conditions and improve treatment options and support. Track 3. This one addresses mental health disparities, which are great and often have tragic consequences. To address these disparities, we must explore the intersections of culture, race, identity, and mental health. Track 4. Living well with a mental health condition. Millions of people in the United States are affected by mental illness each year. Learning about symptoms, treatments, and support can be an important step toward self-care and improving quality of life. And last but not least, Track 5, Supporting Stronger Communities. Strong communities depend on individuals with lived experience, peers, family members, professionals, broad coalitions, and diverse partnerships, all with their own unique perspectives, using their collective voice to improve mental health services and advocate for meaningful change. One more thing that I'm excited to share with you. NAMI is engaged in a wonderful collaboration that continues to grow with public media's Well-Beings campaign, launched right here at NAMICon last year. And tonight, we are celebrating our relationship with a special Well-Beings event.
Thank you, Dan and NAMI, for all you do on behalf of young people every day. You helped launch the Well-Beings Youth Mental Health Project last year, and since then, hundreds of thousands have joined the campaign with millions of tweets, YouTube views, Instagram messages, and Facebook posts, helping raise awareness, reduce stigma and discrimination, and to share personal journeys of resilience and hope. So tonight at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, join the Well-Beings Tour virtual event at wellbeings.org/KQED. with our PBS station partner, KQED San Francisco, for a panel discussion on the resilience of foster youth post-pandemic. Join us and join in. Thank you.
Looking forward to tonight. NAMI's focus on youth and young adults has taken center stage this year at NAMI. I am pleased to announce that we created a dedicated task force led by Director of Youth and Young Adults, Barb Solish, and Senior Manager, Jennifer Rothman. We now welcome Barb and Jennifer to share with us NAMI's latest efforts to tackle mental health with youth and young adults, along with some very special guests.
Hi, I'm Barb Solish.
And I'm Jen Rothman.
Approximately 50% of lifetime mental health conditions begin by age 14, and 75% begin by age 24.
And the average delay between when symptoms first appear and intervention is approximately 11 years.
That number really hits home. I myself experienced mental health symptoms in high school, but it wasn't until my early 20s that I got the right diagnosis and the right treatment for me. No one else should have to go through what I did.
And I'm a mother of two school-age daughters who were deeply affected by the pandemic. One was already struggling with mental health issues, which were worsened by the drastic change in her routine. And then I saw major changes in the personality of my older daughter due to the isolation and loneliness that came with virtual learning. The crisis across the country has taken up residence in my own home.
We know that kids of all ages have been affected by these life-altering circumstances. Our special guest this year, 10-year-old Charlie Olsen, ran and won the position of New Hampshire Kid Governor on a platform of childhood depression.
Charlie is kid power personified. The pandemic hit him hard, but instead of struggling in silence, Charlie spoke up and is making a difference for himself and kids everywhere.
Charlie has truly created a space for everyone who is ready to step out of the stigma. Let's hear from Charlie now.
Thank you, NAMI, for asking me to be a part of this amazing event. Thank you also for giving me this opportunity to help spread my message to other children that you don't have to do this alone. Hi, my name is Charlie Olsen, and I'm the New Hampshire's Kid Governor. I'm honored to represent the 5th graders of my home state as their Kid Governor. And I'm especially grateful and so fortunate to have such an amazing opportunity today to represent and speak for children of all ages across our country. Kid Governor is a civics education program that gives kids like me a voice to make a difference. My journey with Kid Governor began with a personal narrative that I wrote in my language arts class at the same time that the Kid Governor program was being introduced in social studies. This is where my platform was born. I'd like you to meet my amazing teacher, Mrs. Cohen.
Thank you, Charlie. My name is Mrs. Cohen. I was lucky enough to be Charlie's 5th grade teacher this year. When Charlie first brought up mental health in our classroom, it spread like wildfire in such a positive light. I literally watched students have a wave of relief over them, knowing that, wait, they weren't alone, that, they felt like Charlie during the pandemic, or they know someone that felt like Charlie, where after Charlie was brave enough to share his personal story, the hands all just went up, and everyone had some connection or short story to share with their own mental health.
Thank you, Mrs. Cohen, for all of your support in helping me spread my message. I'd like to begin with a definition of a word. Stigma. A stigma is when people look at you negatively because there's something different about you. To a kid like me, that means that you try out for a team and you have all the skills to make that team, but they don't pick you because you have a mental illness. Sometimes people who struggle with depression can feel embarrassed or ashamed because they think they're different. You may fall and skin your knee, and you have no problem telling your teacher that your knee hurts. But if you are extremely sad and not feeling like yourself, you might not tell anyone because of the stigma. I'd like to ask Coach Brian what stigma means to him, having led Auburn Little League for the past 16 years.
Thank you, Charlie, for letting me be a part of your message. In all my years of volunteering, I've seen a wide variety of athletes. A stigma can be anything negatively attributed to one of our players. It could be the way they swing the bat, could be their ability to comprehend the game, maybe how they throw the ball, or even how they interact with their teammates in the dugout. And there can be many reasons for these differences, and that negative stigma can really affect a person's enjoyment. Youth sports, the number one thing that we're hoping to gain is for everyone, regardless of ability, to come out and enjoy their time down at the ball fields. Our focus has always been to try to include everybody and figure out ways to get everybody to not focus on the negative, but encourage each other, any one of their teammates, so that after everything is all said and done, everybody walks away feeling as though they were a part of something, and how strong that can be, even more than the wins and losses. Charlie, thanks again for all that you're doing.
Thank you so much, Coach Brian. So, what do I have to be depressed about? I'm a straight-A student. I play several sports like soccer, baseball, golf, skiing, and I compete in triathlons. I have a supporting, loving family and 2 sweet golden retrievers, Hank and Spunky Lola. I have a brilliant rock star sister who's a gymnast and will be a heart surgeon someday. My mom has stayed home to take care of me and my sister, and I have tons of friends at school and way beyond. My parents always said that I was the happiest person they ever met in their lives. Some would say I have the perfect life, and I do. Lou Gehrig said in his famous speech, "I consider myself the luckiest man on the face of the earth," and I could always say the same. But in mid-March 2020, all of that changed. My world and the rest of the world's lives changed in a big way. We began the COVID lockdowns, and we were separated and isolated from our friends. My perfect life didn't look perfect to me anymore, and I struggled with loneliness and fear that came with the quarantine orders. My doctor diagnosed me with situational depression. You might be wondering what depression feels like for a kid like me. When my mom tucked me in at the end of the day, I would cry myself to sleep. I couldn't eat because I constantly had stomach aches. It turns out these were caused by the mind-body connection tied into my depression and anxiety. I was constantly stressed and worried about absolutely everything, including what school would look like next year and whether we would survive COVID. My joints ached for no physical reason. I'll ask my mom to tell you a little bit about our journey.
Thanks, Charlie. We were super worried about Charlie, and we made it our mission to find out what was wrong with him and help him in any way that we could. So we had access to, and we went and visited his primary doctor, and she gave us some strategies and some books and activities and things to help him deal with his anxiety. We went further and double-checked with a gastroenterologist and allergist to be sure that none of his tummy troubles or aches and pains had any physical basis, and eliminated all those things so that we could just focus on his mental health. And once we were able to do that, we got thinking about all those other kids that are out there that may be going through the same thing and don't have access, or the family is struggling, the parents are struggling with the same feelings, or it's something that they're not willing to talk about or seek help for. So we're really proud of Charlie and what he's doing, and we hope that his story can help any other children that might be out there suffering.
Thank you, Mom. There is hope. If we can get kids to understand what depression feels like, they can talk to a trusted adult, a counselor, or a coach who can help them, or maybe we can even talk to a friend if they're feeling down. I want kids to know that they don't have to do this alone. Before the pandemic, approximately 2 million kids were diagnosed with depression in the U.S. This number doesn't even include the kids that were undiagnosed. During the pandemic, children and adults have been struggling, and this number has gotten so much bigger. I want to raise awareness of this important issue. I want to get kids the help and support they need. And I want you to know that if you're feeling sad or depressed, that you don't have to do this alone. Kids have been isolated from their friends. Kids are social beings. These kids that are suffering look just like you and me. They may look happy and perfect on the outside, but on the inside, the struggle is real. We need to help our friends. That is why I am here today. I have been repeating these things ever since I ran for kid governor, but I'll say them again. If you're having trouble sleeping at night, you don't have to be afraid to talk about it. If you don't understand why you're not feeling quite like yourself, you don't have to be afraid to talk about it. If you're feeling sad and lonely, you don't have to do this alone. If you're suddenly feeling physical pain for unknown reasons, you don't have to do this alone. If you feel like you're the only person that is struggling, you don't have to do this alone. If you feel like things are hopeless, you don't have to do this alone. So, if you're watching this keynote and you're feeling the way I felt during the pandemic, I want you to know that you are not alone. we can make the world a better place for kids. We can live happier lives and eliminate the stigma associated with mental challenges. Our future is a world we get to create together. Join me in making the world a place that is free of the stigma associated with childhood depression. Thank you and enjoy the rest of this conference.
Thank you, Charlie. We are so thrilled to have you as part of the NAMI community.
And as we say at NAMI, nothing about us without us. That's why we're enriching and expanding our Youth Ambassador program. We've actually invited some of our youth ambassadors to share with you today. We're humbled by their strength and their bravery.
Dealing with a mental health condition can be challenging and isolating, but volunteering with NAMI and sharing my story has made a world of difference. NAMI's Ending the Silence and other programs like it are helping young people all across the country have conversations about mental health, spreading the message that you are not alone. I am proud to be speaking up, speaking out, and stepping forward with my NAMI family.
Hi, I just wanted to film a quick video about how much NAMI means to me. NAMI has already meant so much to me even before this pandemic hit, but during this pandemic, it really gave me a lot of hope. This pandemic left us all feeling isolated, myself and my friends included. I had just moved into my first apartment by myself and I'd never felt so alone. But NAMI gave me hope. And I know that even as we return to a sense of normalcy, there's still a lot of hard work to do. But I know that in sharing my story and so many other stories, we can change a reaction and we can cause a chain of change.
That was really moving. A great big thanks to Barb, Jen, Charlie, and our youth ambassadors. Now, I could not be more excited to introduce America's premier documentarian, Ken Burns, to NAMICon to speak to us and share an exclusive preview of Hidden in Plain Sight, the Youth Mental Health Crisis. For more than 30 years, Ken Burns and his collaborators have produced and directed some of the most acclaimed historical documentaries ever made. We could not be more honored to have him working to shed light on the mental health crisis in America. Please welcome to the stage, Ken Burns.